Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach O'Connor over at Westminster in Missouri. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, excited to talk to you here. We're just a week into the new year. So this time of year, kind of, are you still closing out the class of 26, or is that done and you're looking at 27s? Kind of, what's your timeline when it comes to building that roster right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably about three-fourths of the way done, I would say. It's kind of getting towards decision time now. So ideally, I'd like to have as much of the class wrapped up as possible at the beginning of February by mid-February. So it's kind of when the next, recruiting cycle kicks off, all the showcases and everything. So we're already kind of into it, but kind of like to turn our full attention to it around then.
Okay. Um, So when it comes to showcases and whatnot, kind of what are the must-hit venues that are on your calendar every year?
Yeah, I mean we hit the kind of in Missouri the I-70 corridor pretty hard. St. Louis, Kansas City, Columbia, all got really good soccer. But we're around the entire Midwest circuit. We'll be in Chicago, we'll be in Memphis, be in Lexington. So we get to see a bunch of the teams from the East Coast a lot in the Mid Atlantic. We'll be at those. So that's usually kind of the circuit we run.
Okay. Um, do you do you guys do your own ID camps or your staff work ID camps? Are they part of your recruiting process?
Yeah. So we usually work other ID camps. St. Louis area is usually pretty populated with ID camps. So we'll be around Missouri and Illinois ID camps for the most part.
Okay. So whether you're at a showcase or an ID camp, kind of what makes up that hierarchy of things you're looking for in a player both on and off the field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, being a D3 academic scholarship is a big deal. So looking at the pamphlet, what's the GPA is the first thing you look at, and then on the field soccer stuff. Two big things for me are communication, how to communicate with the teammates, how to communicate with the coaches, and versatility. There's so many players who play a certain position in high school, and then get to college and then transition to a different position. So showing that you're able to play multiple positions is a big one for me.
That makes sense. Now, is high school soccer a thing? Do you see it? Do you watch it? Do you care? People always kind of ask that question of its importance these days.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Especially St. Louis high school soccer is a very very big deal. So I get out as much as I can. We're pretty busy during that time. They play in the fall, so I don't get out too much. But I try and get out as much as I can. And the big difference is with the high school soccer is how do you deal with pressure a little bit, especially in the St. Louis area being a big deal. Clubs a little more relaxed at times. So how do you deal with the big stage? And that's where I kind of get from St. Louis and the high school ranks.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Well, you know, we've well, like I say, you and I are talking here early January, and all the news about the college football transfer portal is craziness, and the soccer thing is just as crazy. But do you guys look at the portal at all? Is that a thing that you're looking at, or are transfers a thing for you guys at all?
Yeah, yeah. We usually bring in two, three transfers a year. The past since I've been here, we've usually brought in one or two transfers at semester, um, and then one or two transfers in the summer. So ideally, we'd like to do our transfers if we can in that January window, um, and get them integrated into the school and give them a spring season, with the rest of the boys, get them ready to go for fall. But yeah, we do look at that. So changing times, but trying to keep up with it as best we can.
Well, and another big thing, especially on the men's side, not as much at D3, but is international players. Are you guys recruiting internationally? Do you have a big international presence at Westminster or not so much?
So I'm not so much. I mean, it's something we're kind of working to build a little bit. Some of the previous schools I've been at have been pretty heavy international, so it's something I'm familiar with. So it's one of the things the school's working to kind of kind of increase. So I've done it a lot before, so I know big market for it, pretty competitive. But yeah, I mean, we have a couple internationals on the team now. Two from Australia, one from New Zealand. So it's something we'll continue to kind of ramp up um, as it gets implemented at the school.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is like a roster size that you find is ideal that you guys are trying to hit each season?
Yeah, so we'll be between 35 and 40. Um, so I mean, the college schedule, not necessarily conducive to keeping you healthy. We try and get a good healthy roster. So kind of next man up mentality. We will something new we're gonna do. We're gonna have reserve games. We're not gonna have a reserve team. We'll all train. We're all one program. But for guys that need development or guys coming off injuries or, you know, we'll have those, we'll have those between 4 to 6 games a year. Try and get it once a week if we can. To get them prepared. The best way to develop in college soccer is to play college soccer. So that's something that we'll do as well with kind of a high roster number.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. Westminster in Fulton, kind of what do you find is awesome about the school? Maybe some things we wouldn't even know by going through the website.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is the campus is gorgeous. I had played against Westminster, but never actually been on campus. So the campus itself is gorgeous. And the high academics, obviously, you choose a place like Westminster for what it can do for you after college. So they got a great career services, and the placement after you leave here is fantastic. And the other thing is it's a smaller campus. We're about 700, um, but it's a very active campus. Almost everybody lives on campus, so we haven't had an issue with people transferring or anything like that or retention. Especially the soccer program's been really good. So it's a pretty lively campus, and there's a little bit something for everybody to keep you busy, outside of soccer.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, like you said, high academics, one of the biggest challenges a lot of times for student athletes is making that leap of the demands that are put on you, especially in that fall, right? You're just starting, and man, I'm playing college soccer. My schedule's crazy, but the classes are hard. So, kind of, how do your students really balance the demands both in the classroom and outside, and what support systems does a school offer to help them be successful?
Yeah. So I'm a very big believer in good habits on the field lead off the field, and vice versa. So we kind of view the off the field, the academics, and on the field all as one thing. So one of the things we do, as much time as I take away, I try and give back as much as I can. So we'll do study halls pretty much every day. We're not playing, unless we're off, but so it's about 4 or 5 times a week. We got an hour and a half study hall. And with that, there's tutors for each class. We do the study hall in the library, so you have the writing center right down the hall, and then all the tutoring in there. And then Westminster does a really good job with athletics in terms of academic management. So there's a lot of resources at the academic center. If a guy needs help, there's one-on-one help available for him. So, and the biggest thing is a lot of it's a cultural thing. Like the team had a 3.4 team GPA last year. So, as much as I could talk to them blue in the face, but the captains do a great job, the leaders do a great job, and everybody's just kind of bought into it. So, um, coming here, the culture's a really good culture to step into.
That's good. All right. Well, rewind me back to say mid-October, heart of that conference season. Walk me through what's a typical week look like from meals to classes to practices, game cadence, all that stuff.
Sure. So typically the game cadence is typically Wednesday, Saturday, excuse me, Wednesday, Saturday. Um, so Sunday's usually the day off. Um, and then Mondays is the big prep day, the one day where you can kind of put a little bit on their legs in training, and get after it a little bit. So we'll do study hall and film, usually between 4 and 6. Um, Go eat, hit the session at about 7. Um, and then Tuesday, study hall film again, and then it's more of a walkthrough set pieces, things like that. Wednesday game, Thursday, recovery session, but film onto the next game on Saturday. So Thursday film, uh, film walk through recovery. Friday study hall film, walk through Saturday game. So it's extremely tactical. Uh, there's a lot on the brain. Getting to prepare 2-3 days for a game, especially a conference game. And academics as well. But um, that's how we have to do it. So, and luckily, like I said, the guys, good culture here. So the guys, the seniors, the juniors, have been with me a couple of years now. So they know the rhythm and the cadence I want, and we're able to do pretty well this year. So that's how we attack it.
All right, great. Well, let's talk about the team a bit. I mean, you mentioned roster size, but talk to us about the other parts of the roster, your assistant coaches, what other staff are there helping out, and what are their roles there?
Yeah. So we have one full time assistant, Coach Sanchez. Actually played for me way back when, so he's full time. Very lucky to have him. Does a great job. We have a part time assistant, Coach Brandon Russell, Coach B, backbone of the program. I think he's been here 10 years. And then one of the great things about Westminster is the athletic support that we get. So we have an AT that's pretty much specifically for soccer. So we have an AT keeps us taped together towards the end of the year. So and then we have all the academic help as well from the academic center. So um, pretty good with staff. A lot to tackle right in the college program. Recruiting, retention, game planning, all of that. So we got a lot of help, especially with a sizable roster. So pretty lucky with that.
Yeah. Okay. What about you? Talk to us about your coaching style and the style of play you look to play there.
Yeah. So I mean, the base thing, the big pillar for me in coaching is communication. Everything I do is predicated off good communication. So, some would say I like to say I'm refreshingly honest. I think it's good to create that atmosphere. So, I'm pretty demanding. I want things done a certain way. And I'll let you know. With that being said, kind of my approach to the game in terms of formations and in the era of system play. Um, I'm not really ideologically tied to any certain formation, so I'm very personnel driven um, in terms of what we do on the formation side of things. But ultimately, I view soccer. The game's about problem solving. So how do you problem solve? How do you adapt? So all the training we do will be geared towards recognizing situations, diagnosing situations, and finding the right answer. So in soccer, there's usually 10, 12 right answers and a million wrong answers. So, um, giving those guys the freedom to kind of, express themselves and play. So, and giving them the ability to diagnose those situations. So, I haven't kicked a meaningful ball in 15 years. So, when they're on the ball, they're the decision makers. So everything we do in training is geared towards that.
Oh, I love that. All right. Well, like we said, it's January. It's the non-traditional season now, that second semester. Talk to us about what you generally do during that spring time frame.
Yeah. So, we typically don't start practice until March. We have a certain amount of days, and I like to get in a pretty good rhythm leading up to the summer break. So, but for now, when the boys are getting ready to get back next week, so Westminster's got a full strength conditioning staff. So they'll be with them typically 3 days a week, 3 days a week as a team in the weight room, um, and then they'll they'll do all the exciting stuff that you do in the off season. They'll get together and they'll do the 6v6s and 7v7s when they should be doing technical work in my opinion. But they'll be plenty busy. And then once March hits, we're practicing full again. And my approach to the spring um, is it's a one time I can kind of do technical stuff. During the year it's all tactical. So really pushing that technical angle. And then I want to make sure they're fit going into the summer. So I want to make sure they got a good running start in terms of the weight room and the fitness going into the summer. So a lot of what the spring is a lot of technical work, individual improvements, and getting the body ready for the fall.
All right. Well, Coach, you've given us some great insights here. Going to leave you with one last question, and that is, if you had, one piece of advice for anybody going through this college recruiting process right now, what would that be?
My biggest thing is the more information you have, the better. So obviously, everybody wants to go D1. I was the same way. But I would say make your search as wide as possible. Start early as much as you can, gather information, and look at what each program and how it's supported. So that would be my big piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck into your spring recruiting and spring season. And if you get down to any events here in Bradenton, make sure you give me a shout, all right?
Will do. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you.